Happy Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me again this morning. This morning we're going to do some kind of more playful child's pose, tabletop, hip circle kind of positions. It'll be nice and gentle. As always, if something doesn't feel good to your body, don't do it. You can always take a resting position, you can lay down, whatever is comfortable for you. Okay, so we're going to start in child pose. So coming onto our hands and knees. We're going to take our knees out quite wide. So you can take them out as wide as feels comfortable for you. I like to take mine kind of just out to the sides of the mat. And then just reaching our bum back towards our heels and coming down. So there's a couple of options in child's pose. You always want your head to be resting on the ground. So if your head's not reaching the ground, you can stack your fists and create kind of a ledge for your head there. You can also use a block or a blanket, kind of whatever you need to be able to relax your head down. You can also take your arms backwards if that's more comfortable for you. I prefer to have my hands forward this morning, just kind of resting here. And we're going to take our time here to notice our breath, just as we do. Okay, so just breathing. Maybe breathing into the back of your body. So just noticing our breath. Can you expand the ribs in the back of your body? I mean, of course, we can't direct our breath. Our breath goes into our lungs. But we can think about where we might need to feel some expansion. We can think about breathing into parts of our body where there might be some tension and releasing it there with our breath. If you're feeling some tension in your hips, you might want to try and think about your breath, breathing into the hips. Focusing on expanding the sides of the ribs. So breathing in here, expanding the sides, the backs of the ribs, and exhaling out. A few more breaths, so breathing into the sides, the back of the ribs, feeling it fill up like a balloon, and breathing out. One more time, so breathing in, feeling the sides, the backs of the rib expanding, and exhaling, releasing all that out. From here, we're going to take our hands out if they were supporting your head. So if you need some support under your head, you might want to find a block, a blanket, and we're just going to walk our hands to the right side. So feeling a stretch maybe through the side of our body. And you decide how far you walk your hands over. So if you walk them a centimeter, that's great. If you walk really far over, that's great too. Just be mindful that we're not overstretching your body, especially first thing in the morning. Focusing on our breath again here. If you notice there's an area of particular tension, you might want to breathe into there. And if this is too much for you, into your hips, so we're going to hang out there for a little bit. If that's too much, you can always come up to seated, taking a hand down to the floor, hand up, and stretching this way. Okay, or hand over, stretching this way. Okay, but if child's pose continues to be comfortable for you, let's hang out there. Okay, let's do one more breath here. Walking our hands back to center, and then going over to the left side. Continue to focus on the breath. Making sure that you're relaxing. relaxing down into this. You always have the choice to come up to seated. You always have the choice to come into a pose of relaxation, whatever that looks like for you. As you breathe into the sides of your ribs, into your back, you may want to walk your hands a little bit further over. That's totally fine. You might want to release a bit and come back towards the center. There are always choices. Just a couple more breaths here. Directing your breath wherever you feel you need it. And when you're ready, coming back to center. Great. All right, we're gonna come up to take hands and knees, so tabletop. So you can keep your hands right under your shoulders if that's comfortable for you. I think sometimes we get a little bit complacent in hanging out this way, so we can always bring our hands a little bit forward if you want a little bit of an extra challenge this morning. But hands under your shoulders is fine, stacking those joints, okay? Knees under our hips, okay? And just making sure that we're being supported here. So we're not gonna drop into our back, okay? We wanna be kind of, we wanna feel like our arms are our pillars of support here, okay? So you can keep our toes tucked under. You can have your feet flat against the floor, it's up to you. And we're gonna come into a cat-cow, okay? So we're going to curl our back up towards the sky, pushing the mat away from us, looking down between our hands. Breathing in, inhaling, dropping our tummy towards the floor, bringing our gaze out. You can either look upwards or just straight down. If you're expecting it might be too much to look up, it might be because I'm pulling in the belly, and if this causes any pulling in the belly, you want to stop and not do it. You just hang on to your tabletop. So exhaling, curling up, pushing the mat away, looking between our hands. Inhale, curling our back, dropping our belly towards the floor, bringing our gaze slightly forward. We're going to do this in our own time with your own breath. So exhale, between the hands, pushing the mat away, inhaling, dropping our belly towards the floor. So do this a few more times. Just do it in your own time. However your breath is feeling. Some people might be slow, some might move quite quickly. Totally up to you. You might try and move your back in segments. So if you can feel your spine, starting at the bottom, curling, slowly curling up towards your shoulders. And then again, as you drop your belly, starting at the bottom of your spine towards your hips, curling up towards your shoulders. A little bit of an extra challenge there. Can you move the different sections of your spine kind of independent of each other? And that is a challenge. I know most of my movement kind of wants to start right at my shoulders instead of starting at the bottom, so it does give a little bit of an extra trick there. Okay, 2 more on your own time. Good. All right, we're gonna come into some hip circles. So still on hands and knees. If this is getting to be too much for your wrists, fold your mat up. Create a little ledge. with your palms on the edge of your mat. It just decreases you're no longer at a 90-degree angle, sorry. So you want to make sure that your wrists are feeling supported. If that's still too much, come down onto your forearms. We can do the hip circles from here, okay? So still on all fours, we're going to bring our hips over to the left side, circling back towards our ankles, heels, coming up to the right, circling forwards, to the left, back, to the right, forward, okay? So we'll just do this a few times here. You're doing it from your forearms, be the same. You can always take your knees out as wide as you need them to go. Okay, when we come up to the front here, the next time, we're going to change direction. So going to the right first, back towards our heels, to the left, and forward. We'll just keep doing that. You can make your circles as big or as small as you feel comfortable. Okay. Just a few more times here. Making sure you're breathing. Keep breathing. Breathe through everything, okay? And stop whenever you need. Take a rest. 2 more here. Last one. Awesome. Okay. Coming back to seated. You can drop your hip towards the floor. Coming back. Okay, we're going to go into a Shavasana. So today we're going to talk about the side lying Shavasana. So you will need a blanket or 2. So if you have 2 blankets, that's great. I'm going to use a block and a blanket. So I'm going to use the block under my head. So as always, putting something under your head in Shavasana can be really supportive for you. Just like we use a pillow, it can help support the natural curvature of the neck. Okay, so coming down, you always want to use your hands as support. Okay, placing your head onto the pillow, block, blanket, kind of whatever you have. And then placing something between the knees, okay? So find a comfortable resting position here. You always have the choice of laying on your back, maybe seated, whatever is most comfortable for you. And however you can find some rest, okay? So we're gonna start just by noticing our breath. Don't try and change it. Just notice the rate of your breath. Where do you feel your breath? Can you feel it entering in your nose, in your mouth? Do you feel it filling up your chest, your belly? Can you feel them expanding? And as you breathe out, can you feel the breath leaving your belly, leaving your chest, leaving through your mouth, your nose? As you exhale, can you think about tension leaving your body? Stress leaving your body? Can you inhale into areas where you're feeling tension, where you're holding stress, and release them out through the breath? can stay here as long as you like. Focusing on the breath, thanking yourself for your practice this morning. Thank you for joining me. Stay here as long as you like, and I'll see you again tomorrow.